So
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get on to something a little lighter in tone. We have listener questions this week.
Okay.
So on Facebook, Kevin H. asks a very hyper-specific and nerdy question that I kind of love, and it involves two Smash Brothers characters. We got Joker, along with the Phantom Thieves, and the recently announced Kazuya, from Tekken. So Kevin writes, do you think that Joker and the Phantom Thieves would be able to defeat Kazuya by stealing his heart? Or would it be hard for them to succeed due to the devil gene that Kazuya carries in his blood? Now, you're more of the Kazuya expert than I am. For the layman out there listening, what is the devil gene? How does it affect him? And would it have any effect on whether or not the Phantom Thieves could take over his heart, do you think?
Okay, so basically the devil gene is a genetic mutation that he received from his mother's blood, from her side of the family. His mother was the first one to receive the devil gene, I believe.
Okay.
All it does is allow him to transform himself into a devil, and it gives him supernatural abilities. That's pretty much it. It's not him being possessed by an otherworldly creature, being possessed by a devil, evil spirit, what have you. So, as far as the Phantom Thieves having issues, I don't think that they would have too big of a problem stealing his heart. The issue would come in catching him off guard and being able to get inside his palace to begin with, because he's a pretty well-guarded individual, and he's got a lot of stuff going on. I'm trying to remember Phantom Thief.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's explain the Phantom Thieves too, so that way we can kind of really expand out this question. So let's use the first palace in Persona 5 as an example. Okay. So the way that it works, and they base it off of Jungian philosophy, of course, is you have your id, or your kind of forward-facing personality that you show the world, and then you have, your inner personality that you hide, your persona, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe your persona is what you project. I don't know. I'm probably going to mess up the philosophy. Go read up on it. It's interesting. So we had a gym teacher at the school who was abusing students, but he was facing off like a good teacher, and his volleyball team won games. So the school, even if they heard rumors, they'd look the other way. When they got into his palace through this mysterious app installed on their phone, they saw his distorted view of the school was more like a castle that he was the king of, and all the students were his slaves and did his bidding. And they were often tortured, right? Mm-hmm. So the way that the Phantom Thieves enter the world is, and the way that any Persona game works, where they enter into the id, or the personality of the people whose they want to change or help face down their own demons, is usually kind of lightly explained as the main character kind of gains the power to help change the world. And again, in Persona 5, it's an app in their phone. They have to know keywords. So I think they stumbled on the keywords because one of the students was complaining about, stupid Kamoshida, he thinks he's the king of the castle, right? Mm-hmm. And so they said what he would view the palace as, and his distortion, that he's the king, and that got them in. So what do you think Kazuya's keywords would be? If he's very well guarded, how does he remark or view the world? How does he regard the world or other people? People to be defeated, just stepping stones to his power? I mean, how would you describe it?
I would just describe it as people to be defeated. Kazuya is all about gaining power and vengeance against his father specifically. So thinking maybe power, vengeance would be keywords.
And what would the world look like to him, do you think?
Probably just a fucking hellscape, honestly. And this has nothing to do with the with the devil. It's just that he's burning with such rage.
It's just kill or be killed in his mind.
Yeah. And the fact that his father threw him into a volcano is like part of it as well. Like a burning hellscape, literally. Okay. So
all right, so we got a volcano level. And when they steal his heart or his coveted treasure, it would probably be something that represents maybe the lost love between him and his father, you think? Because that might be the source of his distortion, is that his father treated him so badly, and he feels like that he has to get strong and get vengeance against his father rather than forgive him and move on with his life.
True. Because Heihachi never really treated him with love.
Never.
Period.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really about how he views himself and how he has to establish himself. Yeah, interesting. I agree with you. I think that the Phantom Thieves would have no problem stealing his heart. I think it'd be a very interesting level and a very interesting boss. Once his heart is stolen and he goes back to being a good person, do you think he's probably still a fighter? Do you think he'd act more like maybe Ryu to switch fighting game genre or fighting games like Street Fighter? Do you think he'd be more like, okay, I'm just going to fight you one-on-one, fair's fair, and not completely crush you? Maybe he's not consumed by vengeance. He forgives his father. I mean, what does that look like?
I mean, I'm assuming it has something to do with forgiveness. I guess it just depends on what the Phantom Thieves are trying to achieve. Like, what are they trying to stop Kazuya from doing?
Well, what does Kazuya do? I mean, I know he's in a fighting game tournament, but does he kill people? Does he hurt people? Does he...
Oh, yeah. So throughout the games, basically, he's trying to, again, get vengeance on his father. He takes over this corporation called G Corporation in order to combat the Mishima Zaibatsu, who's led by Heihachi. And it's just... there's just Tekken is something else. It's basically just two corporations going against each other with a bunch of little smaller fighters caught in the middle, and they basically pick a side. And then you got Kazuya's son Jin, who ends up taking over the Mishima Zaibatsu, and it's a lot. It's a lot to explain. Fighting games are not really known for their well-told stories,
cohesive stories. Yeah,
just kind of like a bunch of shit happening. I mean, I don't know, man. He's just, his main goal is vengeance. And in spoilers for Tekken 7, in Tekken 7 he actually does achieve his goal of defeating Heihachi, and he throws him into a volcano.
Okay. Well, we got to get Kazuya to stop throwing people on volcanoes, I think. That's what the Phantom Thieves is trying to stop. And if he stops pursuing vengeance, maybe he uses his corporation to help people instead of constantly fighting. Who knows? All right. Well, I hope that was a good enough interpretation for you, Kevin, and you enjoyed that. And we look forward to any additional listener questions we can find out there, whether that's through Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or email.